Hi, I'm Vernon L. Bowling, and welcome to another edition of Focus. As I hope you know, Focus has been on the air for over 40 years. We've been continuing to bring you the African American community problems, accomplishments, as well as successes that we've had within the African American community. Don't touch that remote. Matter of fact, you can get your pencils or papers together and write down some information that we're going to give to you that's going to be very important that you probably can use later. We'll be right back with more Focus after these messages.
Little things that might seem simple could have such a big impact. I'm putting my effort towards an outcome. You have to put effort into it to be part of a community. When you play the lottery, your money stays here in Arizona. It actually goes back to your community. You're helping out your state.
When I look into my children's eyes, I'm always thinking of what it is that can make my kids feel safe. If nothing else, I think that's what we can help our kids grow up with, that innocence. The fact is, my kids are going to be exposed to a lot more stuff that I ever was at an earlier age. It's concerning. Learning about the good that the Arizona Lottery is doing, it definitely changed perspective. If I become a millionaire, great, but I know that there's something good that's happening out of it.
Arizona is in the news again today, but it's not about the Cardinals. It's about Black lives and Black feelings that really do matter. We're gonna have a full show today because we're gonna be talking about the Phoenix coordinator of Black Lives Matter, Pastor Reginald Walton. And we're also going to be talking to Audrey Jenkins with Real Women Revealed. But today and right now, we are in Phillips CME Church in downtown Phoenix, where Pastor Walton is the head of this church. And I look at him and I see this young man, and I saw him the other day. I saw you the other day.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were facilitating a meeting.
Yes,
or
ma'am.
at least you were part of this
I was
meeting.
part of a meeting. Yes,
with a lot of people. And I was very curious because I was there with the Rites of Passage program, and
Yes,
so I
ma'am.
couldn't sit in on the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was very curious as to what y'all were talking about. Now, of course, it's really none of my business, but I'm hoping that y'all were talking about coordinating something or something going on here in the Black community, right?
Well, that was our local NAACP meeting here in
great.
the city of Phoenix, well, the Maricopa chapter, Maricopa County chapter of the NAACP, and of which I'm an executive board member. And one of the things that we were discussing is Black Lives Matter and some of the incidents that have taken place here in the city and in the county as well.
So let's talk about Black Lives Matter because that's actually why we're here.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the mission of Black Lives Matter?
The mission of Black Lives Matter is to speak the truth about what's happening and to dismantle the system of white supremacy. People get uncomfortable when you say that and are blatantly unashamed of blackness and saying that Black Lives Matter. It's not demeaning anyone else. It's not saying that, oh, only Black Lives Matter. But I heard the best definition or the best explanation of it. It was almost as if when we say Black Lives Matter, you instead of a period, you put a comma, and you put a T-O-O at the end of the word or at the end of the statement. One of the things that we are looking to accomplish is to change the way in which our police system or our police departments patrol. Just because I'm black does not mean that I'm a criminal. However, if you look at the sentencing guidelines, that were passed, unfortunately, under President Bill Clinton, the 20-to-1 disparity for rock cocaine versus rock crack versus powdered cocaine. Then you look at the system which builds or allocates funding for the building of prisons based upon third grade test scores. What we are looking to accomplish, bottom line, is that we're looking to make people realize that we matter too.
So you said initially that Black Lives Matter is about the business of dismantling white supremacy.
Yes.
That is lofty, because we're talking about in a country, sometimes even a world, you can go in other countries, but you're talking about a country that's truly built on white supremacy.
Yes.
And so starting with the police department is good, because that's the army, the local army.
Yes.
But it's so much deeper than that. We're talking about education, we're talking about health, we're talking about finances, we're talking about housing, we're talking about everything.
Yes, and one of the things that you are starting to see is that, and because Black Lives Matter really is an open source campaign, what that means is that while there is a national organization, each affiliated chapter has their own way of going about things, if you would. They have their own autonomy. And so one of the things that you see is that there may be someone here who has financial expertise and who is working on, and somebody who has financial expertise and who's working on educating people so that they can go down to a bank and say, hey, listen, I am a Black business owner. I need a small business loan, but I've been denied by your bank even though I'm better qualified than my white counterpart who is across the street but received a loan. And speaking that kind of truth to power in the education arena, we're fortunate that we have allies that understand that you educate Black children a little bit differently than you educate anybody else, and that you handle the discipline of Black children a little bit differently than anybody else.
So Black Lives Matter is more than about dealing with the police. It's really about dealing comprehensively, or really just dealing with everything.
Yes.
So let's go here in Phoenix. We're in Phoenix now.
Yes, ma'am.
And of course, every city is different. Everyone has their, although we have a collective issue, which is systemic racism.
Yes.
But each city is represented differently, or stuff happens in a different kind of way everywhere you go.
Yes.
So what is Phoenix working on?
Phoenix, Black Lives Matter Phoenix is working on, initially, our target now is to work on the City of Phoenix Police Department.
Okay, you did say that.
The City of Phoenix Police Department, unfortunately, has murdered unarmed citizens, and disproportionately Black and brown people. The Romaine Brisbane, Michelle Cusseau, and not only have they murdered, Danny Rodriguez is another case that comes to mind. Not only have they murdered people, but the City of Phoenix Police Department has raped women. The City of Phoenix Police Department has exhibited brutality in a way that is just unconscionable. And what we have been doing is we've been meeting with law enforcement to try to build partnerships, to try to get some understanding that the violence, one, will not be tolerated, and two, to bring about a change.
Well, how do you see that happening? What kind of change do you see? Because I totally agree with you, it does need to change. But how do you see that happening? What is it that they can do, or that you're suggesting or recommending that they do?
Well, one of the recommendations, if you look on Campaign Zero, which I'm grateful to the National Black Lives Matter organization for cooperating and collaborating and coming together and putting it together. One of the things is that there needs to be one, better oversight. There needs to be better training. If you look at our European counterparts, or even in some of our in some of our Asian counterparts, they don't approach a situation with guns drawn. Our law enforcement, it's automatically guns are drawn. If you look nationally, and I'm going to come back locally here to Phoenix, but if you look at the Tamir Rice case, Tamir Rice had no chance when he was approached by law enforcement. A 12-year-old boy playing with a toy gun that this country basically glorifies playing with guns. And so a 12-year-old playing with a gun in a park is accosted and in less than 10 seconds is blown away and his life snuffed out. We're looking at how to train, but if you look at our counterparts in Europe, and especially in the United Kingdom, they have problems with people that have guns. But when you look at it, they do not kill their suspects that have guns. Secondly, what we're looking to do is we're looking to try, here in the city of Phoenix, we're looking to try to find a way that law enforcement can be prosecuted. Because unfortunately, under County Attorney Bill Montgomery, no one gets prosecuted. I believe that there was only, no one gets prosecuted, and if they do get prosecuted, they only receive, I believe, 30 days, 60 days. There was a,
they get a vacation.
Yes, they get a vacation. Case broke this week of a law enforcement Phoenix police officer who was in, and this is what they say, an ongoing relationship with an underage girl. Where I come from, that's statutory rape. Right. And he only received 60 days in jail. What kind of the changes we're trying to make?
And he's still a police officer.
I'm not sure if he's going to remain a police officer, because I think that they may actually go on ahead and take his badge behind this one. But just because they take his badge and only give him 60 days does not mean that he can't leave the Phoenix Police Department and go to, let's say, Surprise or to Peoria or to Glendale and file, and find a new job as a police officer.
I always felt that the police department, wherever you are, each police officer should be vetted before they even become a police officer. What is their history? What is their background? Are they members of the Klan?
Yes.
I mean, do we have Klan members as police officers? Is this the new Klan? I mean, I don't know. And I think that vetting the police officers might be a good way of determining whether or not they're even qualified.
Well, when you have, and one of the things, and I will make this statement unashamedly, one of the things that you have is that you have a problem with the police union having way too much power. The police union feels that it's not the public's business if there are racist complaints against an officer, that their name does not need to be disclosed, that their information does not need to be disclosed. And so what you're finding now is that we have a wall of silence. That, oh no, we don't need to vet them. We don't need to give them rigorous training. I saw some information, and I think it's accurate, that it takes an attorney 3 years of graduate education in order to be able to practice law. Then they have to pass the bar in whatever state they're in. And law enforcement, I believe it's not, I don't believe it's even 30 weeks of training in the academy. And all you have to do is be 18 and not too mentally unstable.
Not too mentally unstable. Well, we're going to talk more about that when we come back, so stay tuned.
And when I look into my children's eyes, I'm always thinking of what it is that can make my kids feel safe. If nothing else, I think that's what we can help our kids grow up with, that innocence. The fact is, my kids are going to be exposed to a lot more stuff that I ever was at an earlier age. It's concerning. Learning about the good that the Arizona Lottery is doing, it definitely changed perspective. I become a millionaire, great, but I know that there's something good that's happening out of it.
Little things that might seem simple could have such a big impact. I'm putting my effort towards an outcome. You have to put effort into it to be part of a community. When you play the lottery, your money stays here in Arizona. It actually goes back to your community. You're helping out your state.
Thanks for coming back. I'm Fatimah Halim, and we are at Phillips CME Church with Pastor Reginald Walton, and we're talking about Black Lives Matter. And before we went to the break, we were talking about vetting the police officers, and you were saying how the training for attorneys is much more rigorous than the training for police officers. But let's go back to Black Lives Matter for a moment. How large would you say this organization is, not only locally, but nationally?
Nationally, I would suggest that it has touched the hearts of pretty much every young person in this country.
And that's what makes me happy, that it is, just like the civil rights movement, it's being run by or led by the young people.
Well, this ain't your father's civil rights movement.
You know,
that is one of the things that young people are saying. And I make this statement that the civil rights movement of the 1960s saying we shall overcome.
Yeah, right. This is when we get ready to kick down the doors.
The civil rights movement now is not singing we shall overcome. We're singing It's Gonna Be All Right by Kendrick Lamar. And one of the difference is that, yes, we shall overcome it's our groundwork, and yes, we do have hope that we will. But
well, there was more than we shall overcome.
Oh, most definitely.
Because you also had Malcolm.
Oh, yes.
You know, and you also had people who were making things happen, and there were a lot of things that were accomplished. So we're not going to get into.
No. I was going there
Okay.
because Malcolm and Medgar, and even if you look at Dr. King, they gave us this palatable Dr. Martin Luther King and the I Have a Dream speech, and they don't talk about the beginning of they want us to they always want to leave us at the end of the I Have a Dream speech. Mm-hmm. But in order to get to the end of the I Have a Dream speech, you have to start at the beginning. And even before that, the difference between the I Have a Dream Martin Luther King and the letter from the Birmingham jail I Have Martin Luther King and King from 65 after the murder of Malcolm X to 68 really is the spirit that you're starting to see now.
Okay, that's good. Now
no, go ahead. And so what you're seeing now is that people are really starting to wake up, and you're starting to see that Black Lives Matter is part of a larger revolution. Locally here, you have several groups that have taken on the mantra of Black Lives Matter.
We call them cells.
Yes, and you could actually call them silos. Really, there are several. I am the chairperson of the Black Lives Matter of the Arizona Black Lives Matter campaign, and so what that was is that immediately after the Rumain Brisbane case and the Eric Gardner non-indictment, several leaders here in the city came together, and we were all on a Facebook chat, and we were just talking about how tired we were. We need to do something. And so I proposed that, hey, listen, let's have a meeting, and Phillips Memorial is the place to be to have that meeting. And so out of that grew the Arizona Black Lives Matter campaign. I was grateful and fortunate that they saw enough in me to ask me to be the chair.
Well, I'm
and
glad
so
that they
you see,
did. We don't have a lot of time left.
No, we don't.
And there's so much more to talk about. So all that means to me is that we have to do this again.
Oh, most definitely.
And just keep abreast of what's happening.
Yes, ma'am.
With the Black Lives Matter movement, because it's one of great importance.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's one that we all need to be involved in. So, and I would say Black Lives Matter, the core group, of course, is African Americans, but we still have, we have others who...
We have several allies, and that's what I'm so grateful for here in the state of Arizona, that there are several allies of all walks of life. At one point in time, and actually we have people from all walks, all religions. We have Wiccans, we have Sikhs, we have Muslims, we have Jews, and we have Christians. And we all understand that all life is important.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
And
so
we
very
will do this again.
Most definitely.
When we come back, we're going to be talking more on this topic with Audrey Jenkins from Real Women Revealed. Stay tuned.
Little things that might seem simple could have such a big impact. I'm putting my effort towards an outcome. You have to put effort into it to be part of a community. When you play the lottery, your money stays here in Arizona. It actually goes back to your community. You're helping out your state.
And when I look into my children's eyes, I'm always thinking of what it is that can make my kids feel safe. If nothing else, I think that's what we can help our kids grow up with, that innocence. The fact is, my kids are going to be exposed to a lot more stuff that I ever was at an earlier age. It's concerning. Learning about the good that the Arizona Lottery is doing, it definitely changed perspective. I become a millionaire, great, but I know that there's something good that's happening out of it.
Welcome back to Focus. We are still in Pastor Walton's church, Phillips CME, in downtown Phoenix. And now we're talking to our girl. We're talking to Audrey Jenkins with Real Women Revealed, who is almost like a staple on the show right now.
Right.
So what did you think about what the Reverend was talking about?
I really, really enjoyed listening to that conversation. It enlightened me a little bit more on actually what Black Lives Matters is meant to be or what it stands for. And I'm really grateful to be able to be in the company of Reverend Walton, just so that we can understand that I think he's a great person to be leading Arizona as far as the head person here with Black Lives Matters. Grateful that there's so many young people that are involved. That is definitely what we need.
Speaking of young people,
Right.
let's talk about what happened in Chandler, because we cannot not talk about that. Okay, and just for those, we didn't say anything about how you can make contact with Reverend Walton, but you'll be able to see his email address and you can reach him on Facebook as well. We're going to have that up there for you. So. Let's talk about those young women in Chandler from Desert Vista High School.
Desert Vista High School.
And this is going viral all over the world.
All over the world.
They think it's okay, and there's absolutely no remorse. They apologize, but the apology, is
one girl that I know of so far.
Right, and maybe two. But the reality is that was it a real apology?
Right.
Now, what do you think their punishment should be?
Well, I think that their punishment should be, they should be expelled. I really do. I understand that they may have received 5 days. When you initially look at the picture that was posted before any planned apologies came out, they were laughing. I mean, they were full on busting a gut, in the picture. So, and these girls are smart girls. I know, I have godsons and surrogate nieces and nephews that go to Desert Vista. So they let me know this type of things happen often there.
So this is not a new occurrence. I've heard that as well.
Absolutely not.
I've heard that as well, that this is not a new occurrence, but yet there's no punishment. And what really bothers me is that if a young Black or a Hispanic or Muslim student does anything or do anything, they will throw them out of school. Like the little boy that you had mentioned that just kissed the girl. And he was a little, what is he, 6?
I don't know if he was even 10 years old.
Yeah, and he got expelled.
Expelled for kissing a girl.
And now this stuff is making not only Desert Vista look bad, it's making the state of Arizona. I got my friends from New York who were texting me and saying, "Oh, see, y'all at it again."
At it again.
So it makes Arizona look bad, and it makes white folks look really, really bad.
These girls are scholars.
They should really be upset.
These girls knew exactly what they were doing. These girls are 17, 18 years old, academic scholarships and things like that. So they knew spelling the word. They said something about it was a term of endearment to one of their boyfriends. Yeah, that's no term of endearment from you to him. That still doesn't solidify anything. That was just, they should just be expelled.
I think not only should they be expelled, but I think that those people who have offered those organizations that offered them scholarships need to really reevaluate whether or not they want their name associated with bigots and these types of behaviors, because that says a lot about the organization that's giving them money. So I think that their scholarships should be pulled, and I think that they should be expelled.
Exactly.
They did hurt a lot of people.
They hurt. The one girl said in the apology that we didn't offend anybody. You offended me, so you weren't speaking for me. I'm sure she offended. You know what I'm saying? So who were you speaking to that you didn't offend anyone?
It's perpetuating a mentality. mentality.
Exactly.
You're perpetuating a mentality of bigotry, a mentality of discrimination, of disempowerment. You know, and we have enough problems without you consistently putting stuff like that out there.
To me, yeah.
You
To
know,
me, it's a form of bullying.
Well, it is.
And we have like a zero tolerance bullying policy, so it's a form of bullying, so they should be expelled.
Exactly. I totally think so. So now maybe we should write into the school. Well, I know that there was somebody from Channel Fox 10.
I think so.
Who was saying we should just leave this alone and just let it go. The girls have enough punishment. You know, their humiliation is enough. But what they don't realize is that there are a lot of people who are supporting these girls in what they did, and
Right.
that's what bothers me, is that you're making light of this
light of it.
when it's really not light. It's something very, very serious, and something that we should really take into
Have to
consideration.
continue on with the
So
conversation.
whatever your thoughts are about this, why don't you write us and we'll talk about it again, or write us and we can talk about anything that you might want to talk about. But there's our information right up there on the board. And what else you want to say before we go?
I think this is just great conversation to keep coming in. So yeah, I welcome the responses so that we can talk on what the community wants to talk about.
Exactly. So thanks for joining us, Audrey and myself
you.
and Tony and Anthony and Pastor Walton. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Focus. And if you'd like to contact us, if there's a topic you'd like to see us present or someone you'd like us to talk to, the information is right up on the screen. So thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Same station, same time, and Focus continues.